never, because I am in downtown Los Gatos where there is a turkey trot. And I always said I would never get up early enough to cover this turkey trot. But apparently this morning I'm going to be covering one here in Los Gatos and one in San Jose before I go about doing what I was going to do on Thanksgiving. So this is Susan Bassi, and I'm coming to you live from Los Gatos, where they're wrapping up the turkey trot. And I want to give everybody a shout out and bring you along on our WomenSv investigations and our investigation of the family court and how they're handling these cases on the heels of our live stream yesterday. And yesterday we were down at the courthouse and I did a live stream about the Fyked case, which I nicknamed Fyked in Family Court. And we had 28,000 viewers come into that live stream. And after that live stream, I got a number of calls about our other investigations. But the most important one was on our investigation of minors counsel Nicole Ford. I hear there is a group of women down in Turlock that are connected to some family court folks in Santa Clara County, and they're all watching this YouTube channel. So this morning, I'm going to do two little live streams. This first one is Never Say Never. And because I'm down covering the turkey trot in Los Gatos, and I said I would never do that. And I want to take you along and show you some landmarks. And then I'm going to go back down to downtown San Jose where they're doing the turkey trot in San Jose. And we happen to have some sources that are in that. So I want to make sure that everybody can hear me in this microphone. This is the new microphone that somebody sent me, and I much appreciate it. And I want to let all of you know that the way you can support our work is you can hype these videos, you can share them, and you can put information in the comments. I see a lot of you reaching out saying, how do you get in touch with me? You get in touch with me through people who are already in touch with me. You can try to email me, but if you send me a long email that's going to take hours for me to read and figure out, and it's not what I'm investigating on, I'm not going to be able to read it or respond. And I'm trying to find people who are actively involved in our investigations because we want to make some impact. And as I said yesterday, I think that the cop watchers have had a huge impact on the community in policing. And I hope that our work has a huge impact on the courts and how these private judges and minors counsel cases are being handled. And hopefully we get information out there and some outcomes that are positive. I'm going to turn around now. Oops. Okay, I want you guys to see what it looks like in Los Gatos because it's important to talk about the the town of Los Gatos. A lot of you might have gotten up this morning and watched the what they called the old Macy's parade. I don't know if they still call it that. Back in the day, it used to be Macy's and Gimbel's were the big department stores where everyone would do their Christmas shopping all across New York. And here in California, we had Macy's, but it didn't quite have the same punch that it had in New York. And so this is give you a little idea of Los Gatos. There's a rural hardware supply store. And for those of us who live up in the mountains, that hardware store is a go-to place. But there's also one on the other side of town, more for the city folks in Los Gatos. And Los Gatos is about 30,000 people. The police force is very well funded. And right now, you guys are hearing about things related to license plate readers and the ACLU, and I think it's the First Amendment Coalition, or maybe it might be the Electronic Frontier Foundation, have sued the San Jose Police Department for surveilling license plates. Well, long before San Jose was doing it, we got public records on Los Gatos doing it. They were working with this company called Predpol. And Predpol was not only surveilling license plates, they were trying to do pre-crime predictions. And so I just want you guys to imagine what pre-crime, any of you who ever saw the Minority Report with Tom Cruise, that was a real foreshadowing of pre-crime. And so pre-crime is when the government and law enforcement, judges, attorneys are all going to decide what is crime. And they're going to try to predict who's going to commit crimes. So they don't even do a good job of promoting public safety as it is. Can you imagine if they're trying to do it with AI and everything else. So, one of the reasons I wanted to bring you here is just to show you what a town square looks like, because free speech really is all about a town square. And here in Los Gatos, I spent a lot of money for events. Thank you very much, Sevenfold 777. Much appreciated and happy Thanksgiving. And so this is a town square. The post office is on the other side. They have a lot of events here. They have concerts in the summer. The tree lighting will happen soon. They had the Chamber of Commerce would sponsor little carriage rides where people could come. And when came to Los Gatos and I started my magazine, I used that building on the first cover of my magazine because that building really spells out Los Gatos. Everybody that comes to this town recognizes that building. But also down the block here, there is a restaurant that a lot of people go to. There's Main Street Burgers right there. Pizza My Heart is a couple doors down that way. And there is a place called Willow Street. And I attended a after funeral event at Willow Street for one of my WomenSv individuals, Jane Doe 1. And Jane Doe 1 went to that nonprofit. Puppy's going on strike right now. Let's see what her problem is. Puppy, what's up? So, Jane Doe 1 was a friend of mine from Los Gatos. She was the only individual who the nonprofit WomenSv Ruth Patrick sent to me. And after she sent her to me, she realized what she had done because she had connected some dots. And Jane Doe 1 and I worked for years from 2017 until this year in April when she passed away. And she helped me find over 90 women who were impacted by this nonprofit, WomenSv. And she used to watch my social media, but she would never comment on it because she didn't want to give away her identity. She told the founder of WomenSv that she was not going to um, uh, contact me because after Ruth Patrick had referred her to me, she must have gotten word from some attorneys that that was a bad idea. So this last summer, I went to her funeral. She's buried in the same place in Saratoga as Audrey Pott is buried, and we're going to talk about that case in a little bit too. And I was sitting on that patio with her children, her grown children, who had been through the family courts with her and watched what the family courts had done to her mom and what that nonprofit did to her in the name of helping her. And as I was leaving the event, one of her children said to me, family court contributed significantly to our mother's death. And that really struck me. But what also struck me was that we were all financially struggling at the time that she died. And this was a woman who had paid attorneys hundreds of thousands of dollars. She had worse than private judging. She went to mediation at JAMS, and we're going to go over what happened to her in her divorce case because she generated more business for attorneys than probably any other case that I ever saw. And when she died, she only had $1,100 in her checking account. And I confirmed that. And so there wasn't even enough money to bury this woman, who most people would have considered a wealthy woman in Los Gatos. And this week, we have learned that a minors council in Orange County has referred, never put a father who had some allegations against him on supervised visitation. And the child kept coming back from the father's home with broken bones. And we learned that last week that the child who was autistic has passed away, and it was timed around visiting with the father. Now, for those of you who know that I cover the family courts, I cover false allegations of abuse as seriously as I cover real ones, because there is nothing worse in anybody's life than being falsely accused of abusing your child or your spouse. And family court seems to make that worse. They seem to get it wrong more than they get it right. And as a result, there are people that really have some problems, and there are some very bad outcomes. And those outcomes almost always happen in cases where we see attorneys acting as privately paid judges or as court appointed minors counsel. And so, one of the worst cases for minors counsel that I saw here in Los Gatos was the Lagresi case. And you will see me talking about that case a great deal. I'm going to talk about it later this afternoon too, down at the courthouse. But in the Legresi case, the woman involved at the center of that case came here from another country. She got legalized for her citizenship, but she had some very startling allegations. And in 2012, right before the Audrey Pot case started, she was arrested by the Los Gatos police and she was called the dominant aggressor. And I have followed that case for a very long time. And eventually, her former husband was criminally charged with very serious crimes. The district attorney prosecuted him for several months, and she remained on supervised visitation. And the district attorney abruptly dropped those charges. Our district attorneys are not prosecuting real abuse claims, and they're getting it wrong more than they're getting it right. And there are ties to policing, the training, and these nonprofits. And so there is especially a tie to these minors counsel. In the case in Orange County, where the child was recommended to not have supervised visitation, and now the child is no longer alive. The minors counsel was Brian Barron. And so there are some, I am not making any claims about who is right or wrong or responsible in that case, but I do understand that the child's mother is not able to afford the child's funeral expenses. And I believe that based on what I saw for myself here at the Willow Street and watching the children of these parents involved in these cases having a difficult time planning the funerals for their parents. So there are going to be some people posting some links to a GoFundMe related to that case in Orange County. They can do it here in the comments while I'm live, or they can do it later after this video publishes because I'm going to leave it up. But I don't ever want to have any of my reporting influence legal outcomes, but I do want everybody to be informed and give the most transparency possible. So I'm going to continue to report on these cases, not based on what I'm seeing at the time, but what I saw and what the outcomes are. And that's especially true for individuals who have court appointed minors counsel who recommend visitation or stripping of custody of parents and their children. And I thought the best way to do that was to start here in Los Gatos with never say never, because you can never say that all minors counsel are good, and you can never say that they're all bad. And you can never say that you're going to get up, you're never going to get up and go to the turkey trot in Los Gatos or San Jose when you end up having to do just that. So thank you everybody who followed my live yesterday. 28,000 people. And we know that there are people watching this platform that I never imagined would. And so I think that if you guys can communicate information, I'm not going to allow posting of information that promotes somebody was abusive or not abusive. I will delete those comments because this platform is not your adjudication of your victimization or anything else. This platform is to talk about outcomes and what policing, lawyers, and judges are doing that are problematic with those outcomes. So thank you, Miss Black, for the membership. I'm going to use that to help with that Orange County case. We do know that WomenSv was spreading to Orange County, and I want to see if Minors Counsel was as impacted and getting referrals from WomenSv just like the attorneys here were. And so your support goes to us researching that. And Ms. Black, if you have the GoFundMe link for the child's funeral expenses, you can put that in the link here or after the video is published, and I will make sure that that gets around. I'm not going to be promoting it, but I will not be deleting that GoFundMe. And for other people that do GoFundMes and different things that you're raising money for, if I don't know exactly what that's about, I'm really not going to allow my platforms to be used for that. I'm not going to allow my platforms to be used for people to make false allegations against somebody or to overly claim victimization when it doesn't appear that that is the case. So I also want to give you guys a little fun story. Um, Back in 2017, I started covering a domestic violence case out of Contra Costa County involving an attorney. Remember, I told you in yesterday's live stream, never marry an attorney. And this attorney's name, I kid you not, this attorney's name was Carrie Evilsizer. And somebody pointed out to me that Carrie Evilsizer used to go to this spa here in Los Gatos, and she appeared in a case for a father source who was a doctor. So we're going to cover that case, and our next live stream down at the courthouse is going to be entitled Never Marry a Doctor. So thank you, everybody who came in this morning for Never Say Never. And remember, not all police officers are good. Not all police officers are bad. Not all attorneys are good. Not all attorneys are bad. Not all judges are good. Not all judges are bad. Not all journalists are good. Not all journalists are bad. And just keep saying that over and over again. And we'll keep investigating, informing, and getting you to the truth. And happy Thanksgiving from Los Gatos, California.